Oh, okay, so why was I not notified about this? Oh wait, we're winning? What the fuck? Man, I just joined in the middle of this 2v2. And I am just going crazy. No, I'm not going crazy. Josh is going crazy though. Man, what is Josh doing? Ooh. Get him, Josh. Hell no. Get out of here. Hell yeah, let's go. Hold on. I gotta refresh everything right now. Oh, I think I scored my own goal. Hold on. Is this real? I actually did it. Chance, acid rapper. Damn, Matt's just commenting all over the place. Oh no, man. Fuck. Slap happy. Oh no. Alright. Who's on the stream right now? Say hi if you're in the stream. Other than that. Cause I know he's in it. Faggot slapper. Damn, I'm gonna have another troll in the stream. Man, you don't tell me to be goalie. What the fuck? Tell me to be goalie and you couldn't even defend that shit. Come on. Really? Hell no, man. Damn, I'm getting all these viewers. What the fuck? And again, I don't know who the fuck it is, and my comments are not refreshing. I'm kind of just like, oh, what's up, Nick, David? What's up, guys? Thank you all for joining.
I saw, dude.
Start the rant. I gotta wait for more people to show up though before I start my rant. Oh shit, what am I gonna say? Hold on. Uh-oh, that was bad. That was bad. I see Matt's already wanting. That's in. Man, this is my first game back in a week, and Mr. Klutz is back. Mr. Klutz is back, guys.
You ain't Mr. Clutch.
Hell yeah, I am. You see all my videos with the close games, man? I'm usually the closer. Uh-oh. Ooh, how the fuck does Josh almost allow a goal? Oh no. Damn it. Oh, we're at a tie. I don't know what the fuck Josh is doing. He was like making half decisions. Alright. Fuck. Alright. I think I will start it after this match, though. Ooh, I need to take a shower, fellas. Alright, that's cool. That's cool. I'll wait on you, though, because you wanted to hear the rant. Not the rant, but the rant. That could be him? Hell yeah! Alright, but for real though, I gotta check to see who in though. So I got one person now. Freestyle, Jeff? What do you mean freestyle? The fuck? Hold on. I don't want to start this. I don't want to start this yet. I gotta see what the fuck this dude wants. Hold on. Whoops. So is this dude gonna join my party or no? Come on now. Man, you just give me a few minutes. I need to check to see what Josh wants first, and then I'll start it. So I got 5 people watching. Technically 4 if you remove me. But who the fuck's in this? Did my chat refreshing? Holy fuck. Hold on. Let me refresh this. Do BBL talk first. I'm actually doing whatever order I want. And I can get Andrew in this too, since he's playing tomorrow.
Yup.
If that's, oh, we're playing Rumble? What the fuck? Actually, you ready to talk about tomorrow's game, Andrew? Cause I could actually start this right now if you want.
I don't give a shit.
Oh, good shit, Josh. What are you doing? Alright, so. Oh god. I don't even want to read that comment out loud. But anyways. So on my Snapchat, a couple days ago, I started counting down the days. I sent it to all the people that I have streaks with. I started off with Wednesday, stating 3 days. And then yesterday I did 2 days. And then earlier today, I sent one saying 1 more day, where I had a period after each word. This is my goal. No, it's not. I didn't touch it. Anyways. Tomorrow, for most of you guys in the stream that know me, or know about this, big basketball game that we started 2 years ago. Tomorrow's the final game of the series. Split 1 apiece. Tomorrow decides the winner of the series. So Andrew, any take on what you feel about tomorrow night's game?
I'm about to destroy.
You're that confident about that, huh?
I don't know, man. We'll see.
Alright, that's cool.
I'm kind of like hurting. I'm kind of hurting all over from work and stuff, so I don't know yet.
Damn, they blowing me up already. Alright. But for all you on the stream that are a part of tomorrow's game, what y'all think of the game? Thoughts on what do you think could happen? That could be in. No, it's not going to be in. But what do y'all think could happen tomorrow? Or where do you guys see yourself performing? fuck! That was a bad hit. I predict we get the W. According to Nick, he thinks we get the W. I think we get the W too. I'm pretty confident. Now is David Bontemps still in the stream? Because I don't know who's in the stream right now. I used to have like 6 fucking viewers and now I'm down. I dropped half. So I know Matt left because he said he got to go take a shower or some shit like that. I know he was spamming the chat, the fuck out of my chat, so. I actually don't even believe that we're winning this game right now, too. Like, we're up 3-0. Performance equals same as last year, but y'all going down. Yeah, because, like, half your team's gonna carry y'all tomorrow, if that's the case. That's really how I look at it. Just talk your thoughts about it. Oh, that's cool. Well, I'll say I believe we got a pretty strong crew this year. Cause you know my boy Andrew, man, he's consistent as fuck. If y'all, if I don't know if I'm gonna spoil all of what he does, man, but I don't think you can prepare for a guy that you guys never seen play before. I'll say that much. That might be in. Ooh, that was pretty close. I mean, what are other ideas y'all got on tomorrow's game that you want to talk about? Like, give me some topics to talk about. Wow, they actually scored their first goal. How you gonna do, and who's the key factors? Well, I definitely believe that I'm gonna do way better than I did the last 2 years combined. Last year, my role changed completely when I let Matt take over the realms of being the point guard for the team after the previous year where I was point guard pretty much the entire game except for when I sat. My overall shooting the past couple of years has been quite off. I could probably say, and Angie would attest to this too. For about the past 3 months, while we were still in school, we were practicing like what, majority of the week?
I'd say at least 3 days a week. Like during the school week. On the weekends, we would go whenever we could. Because there was like towards the end of the year, there were a lot of stuff that the gym was closed for, so we couldn't really go there on the weekends. Yeah,
usually Saturdays they were closed, and I thought that shit pissed me off because I really wanted to try to practice like every day.
Yeah.
That's in. I'd probably want to say the last week of actual classes before finals. That's when I actually like took it to the weight room and shit like that. And I feel like doing a small amount of weights really helped me since then. It helped me get my power back. Helped me feel my legs under me when I take jump shots. Andrew would also attest to this too. I did find my jumper somewhere around, what was it, the last week or two of the semester, you would say?
Roughly, yeah. I would say.
One thing that most of you guys don't know though is that ever since we've been out of school, I actually changed my jumper again, but this time it didn't take me that long to get used to it. And pretty much the main thing I changed was my shooting pocket. Most of you guys that have seen my jump shot, my shooting pocket's on the chin. I changed it to my left eye. And I kind of discovered this somewhere around the time that I came back home from school. That's gonna be in. Oh, never mind. They had the fucking boxing glove. But remind me where I was at again. Oh, I was talking about changing my jump shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found this out when I was just shooting around one day when I was at home, and you know, my jumper wasn't flowing, and I was doing a lot of things that are not characteristic for jump shots, or at least how I shoot my jump shots. There was times where I'd only jump off for one leg for some reason, and I would not, you know, apply much power from my other leg. So instead, I'm kind of like jumping off, you know, 1 foot, 1.5 foot, which is, you know, obviously not how you do things. And then, you know, I was trying to more of rushing my form, and instead of like, you know, letting my form develop and everything like that. So then there were a few shots that I took that I made that were above my normal shooting pocket, and I was kind of like, how does this feel comfortable and stuff like that. So then the next week I go back, I stay with my shooting pocket as my chin and everything. That still continued to somehow not work in my favor. So then Matt came over one day, and I was telling him, you know, like, you know, this ain't working for me and stuff like that. And then he was saying like, well, you maybe have to change your jump shot completely, and I completely agree with that, because I thought, you know, that's why I've been feeling the past few months, is that maybe I have to take on a new form. And then that's when I took a few shots trying out a new shooting pocket that I randomly discovered from having a cold night of shooting. And it turns out that my jumper had better flow. I feel more consistent. You know, I feel like I don't have to do as much to actually make my shots. And my jump shot's to the point where I feel like now I can shoot from any range. If any of you guys seen on my Snapchat, I've sent a decent amount of people, most likely just my streaks, of the new building for Mask. And the gym's roughly 62 feet in, you know, from rim to rim. Yesterday, I mean, I can literally tell you guys how good my range is. I was pulling up from half court with no problem yesterday. Like, that's how good my jump shot has been ever since I've taken on this new shooting pocket that I've randomly discovered. And Josh whiffs another shot again, as he always does. So yeah, I feel like shooting's been one of the problems that I've had for the past couple years, and I feel like that's why I've struggled a lot. Nick would attest to this too, because I always bring up my shooting capabilities with him. You know, Andrew's seen it too. I've seen Andrew's development and on him getting his shot back and everything. But back to your second question. More than just a shot. You probably got everything else down though. Like, you probably like, got.
Now I'm getting my driving game a little.
Yeah, you're getting your driving game, your inside game. Like, everything seems to be on point for you. You know.
We'll see how tomorrow is after not touching the ball for like 2.5, 3 weeks almost.
Andrew will attest to this again too. My defense has somewhat improved the past few months. A lot of people that we've been playing basketball with, you know, on a nightly basis, some people like to say that I play lockdown level type defense. I'm not 100% sure if I want to buy into that nickname, but I'm not going to deny someone, you know, trying to give me a compliment on my defense capabilities.
I just thought of a name for you, Jeff.
What?
Stick out.
Stick out?
Yeah, because whenever you shift over, you stick out one leg. And I remember watching you do this. He did this to me a couple times, like whenever I drive right or left.
Do I really do that though? Just like stick out my leg?
you don't do it on purpose. You just take really like wide, like long strides to get over there,
Okay,
and
like
your
I
legs
just
stick out,
yeah, I
and
wanted to
like
see if there was like
that's
a
how you can
difference
tell
between
Sean a
someone
couple
saying that
times.
I'm doing it intentionally or it's just like a natural thing for
It
me. Like
seems
it's
like
just out of habit, you know,
well, it seems like it's naturally
out of habit, right?
intentional. It seems like it's naturally intentional. Like you mean to do it, but that's just how you naturally defend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I got you. I got you, though.
But like,
Um,
cause that's how you took out Sean a lot of the times. Whenever he would try and blow by you, cause he's quick as hell. Whenever he would go by you, you would shuffle over, and your legs would be really
yeah.
wide out there, and he'd run into your leg.
Well, here's what I'd ask you though. How do you think I've done on Sean overall? You know, for a guy that's a couple inches shorter than me, someone that's quick, and you know, a guy that can probably get by anybody, no matter how tall they are or how big they are.
To be
I
honest,
mean, cause you,
not a lot of people guarded him that well. Like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'd say I'd be up there with those who did guard him well.
well,
And that's
who
because
would you put in that upper echelon that guarded him pretty well?
um,
I mean, would I be
I,
considered in that upper echelon?
I mean, I'd put you up there, but I wouldn't put you towards the top. I'd put you more towards, like, the bottom of the upper.
So what, like how many people would you want to put in the upper echelon? Like 5, 10?
Dude, honestly, I don't know,
Because you did just say there's only a few people that guarded him very well, so I can assume it's a very small number.
I would
So what are we
say,
looking
like,
at? 5, 7? Because you know we've always played with like what the same 15 people on a nightly basis when we do our 5v5s or some shit
yeah,
like that. You'd probably have to
yeah.
look at half at best that does pretty well in him. I'll get to your question after this, Nick. We're just kind of like going on about. I haven't answered the second part of your first question, so I got to get to that first before I answer your new question.
Um,
Because honestly, if I were to be brutally
I'd
honest
probably
about
say,
this though, I'd put you up there. Not to sound cocky, I would put myself up there because I feel like I've improved overall. Because I feel like when I guard someone that's, you know, significantly faster than me, especially with the basketball, I feel like that puts me to the test. And with his ball handling capabilities, I feel like it helps me learn when to bite, when to not bite on fakes. You know, at the bare minimum for now, me and you. Not to sound, you know, cocky or anything like that, but at least regarding him. How the fuck did he score that? Oh well.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, you know me. I don't ever want to be the one to like put myself up on like a pedestal or anything. But I mean, you know how I am with my defense.
No, it's pretty good though. It's top notch level. I'll say that. So
I've only been improving with it too. With little
exactly,
credits
like I
lately.
feel like ever since we started playing 5v5s and all that shit, like I feel like the only direction we're really going is up. Except my jump shot. Until I
Like,
found out my
yeah,
new
I
shooting
was just
pocket.
about to say. I was
Until
just
I
about to
found
say, except
my
for
new
jump
shooting
shots.
pocket. That's where you'll know. I think that's probably where you're gonna find out. You know, the last 2 weeks with me playing basketball and shit like that. I feel like that. The last 2 weeks compared to the previous 3 months will be you'll see a slight difference. Maybe not slight. It could be significant. But we'll just have to see about that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So going back to the second part of Nick's question, key factors. Now I'm assuming you'd probably want me to talk about key factors for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my assumption. Um, if you can reply though, in the chat to clarify, that'd be great. Okay, so he doesn't want key factors for both teams. I'm gonna start with Phil's team. It's kind of hard for me to figure out who I really think the X factor would be. Because there's a difference between the X factor, most important player, and the most valuable player. If I were to say the most valuable player in the team, I think it's without a doubt it's Phil, the most valuable player, the MVP of their team. If I'm gonna talk about most important player, or I guess what you guys can call the X factor, I would probably have to go with David Godino. Now to elaborate on David Godino, here's kind of the first tier that I look at, right? They have 7 players. Correct me if I'm wrong. Scott and David Bontemps. 2 players that I in my opinion, no offense to them, and not to sound cocky. 7. Okay, thank you. But no offense to them. I just don't see what kind of impact they can make that would make a huge difference. Because when now Josh's ass wants an invitation. Wait a minute, he wants me to leave your party. What the fuck? Never mind, I'm not joining his party. I thought... Fucking... Alright. But yeah, well, going back to talking about X factors, most important players, MIP, whatever the hell you guys want to call it. It's a player. How should I say this? Like what the most important players. Like I can bring up Golden State, and we all know the MVP of Golden State would either be KD or Steph. But the most important player, the guy that really starts the engine for Golden State, is Draymond, because he does all the little things. He rebounds, he assists, he sometimes brings up the ball on fast breaks and all that shit. He hustles for everything. That, like, to me, that's the key of being one of the keys of being the X factor, the most important player. I could bring up another example of Lamar Odom back in 2009, 2010 when he played with the Lakers, where he was the leader of the bench. He played power forward for them, and he kind of acted like a point guard at times. And he also did some of the little things too, and that's where I kind of draw the similarity between those two guys. And another criteria for me for why I picked Godino, and this won't be like the only, like my only breakdown of why I picked Godino, but the second criteria is that how can I pick someone that I've never seen play before, right? Four people on Phil's team were on the team last year, and there's 3 new guys that are coming in that no one other than Phil has seen play before. I can't say they're going to be MVP, they won't be MVP, most important, without having seen them play. And I can't say, they're not going to be a threat, because, I would just be misjudging those guys. So really, I'm just breaking it down to who would be the X factor between Godino, Scott, and David Bontemps. And David Godino, to me, is a no-brainer. Anyone who has a game 2 years ago, we all know what he did. He dropped what? And correct me again if I'm wrong, I think he dropped 23, 24 points. And I think he lit us up from 3-point range. He had, and correct me if I'm wrong again, I want to say 5 3-pointers, 6 3-pointers, including a near half-court buzzer beater. 25 points. Okay, thank you. Also put in the chat too how many 3-pointers he had, because I don't remember how many 3-pointers he had. But my guess is 5 3-pointers, because he had a few layups. 5. Okay, so I was right on 5 3-pointers. So I think his ability to score, and he passed the ball a lot too, especially for what he did as a point guard. I mean, outside of Phil, he does probably the other. Here's how I would say the work would be split up between for Phil's team. To me, Phil and Godino do about 45 to 48% of the team's output each. So a combined, usage rate, we're looking at 90% to 98% usage rate. Which means we're looking at a 2 to 10% usage rate out of for the others. So that's just how I look at it on Phil's side of the team. For our side of the team, though, in terms of X factors, I could say any of us on the team is an X factor except Justin.
Damn.
I mean, no offense to him. I don't know if he's watching the stream right now, but right away I would eliminate him. I can bring up multiple reasons why. Fucking Matt. I could bring multiple reasons why I would say anyone on this team other than Justin could be considered as the X factor of the team. I can bring up Andrew. Me and Nick have seen him play before, but no one else that's in this year's game has seen him play. But Andrew is probably one of the more consistent guys I've ever played basketball with. The dangerous part about him is if you let him get 2 shots off, the only thing you can do is pray. And I mean, that's the only thing you're gonna have to do. I can bring up Matt. Last year we all know what his mentality was when he wanted 80 something points, but we all know that changes this year. The only people that know Matt more than anybody else is me, Carl, and Patrick. We're the only ones that know him more than anybody else, and we all know how he plays. And by the way, he's the only person in this year's game that's currently playing for either a high school or college team. So, and I feel like that's maybe where he gets the advantage because he's more conditioned than the rest of us. And he and I, we've been working on our game together, here and there and shit. Working on a decent amount of drills and all that shit. And the Matt I know would break down a defense easily. Like, easily. Okay, so there's a decent amount of questions flying in, but that's okay. I'll cover all of them, though. I can point to Nick. He and I, call each other on probably like almost every day. And we're talking about, how we can do better for this year's game, Nick wanted to drop weight. He's now, I believe, he said that he's now roughly the same weight that he was when he entered the game 2 years ago. Which is pretty big, because now when he has to defend Phil, it's not going to be that much of a problem now. And he definitely has a totally different mindset coming into this year's game compared to the previous 2 years. I could have Nick elaborate that in the chat if he wanted to, but and that can bring up me, because I've been raving about how I've been working on my game too, and I just mentioned that a few minutes, probably like 10 minutes ago, about how me and Andrew, we go hoop about majority of the week or whenever we can, and we always do like a bunch of 5v5s. This bitch blew me up. playing 32s, like those, like the very crazy games of 32s, where we get like fucking 9 people in the game and shit like that.
9 to 12 people, yeah.
Yeah, 9 to 12 for half court 21 or 32. Like that shit gets crazy and hectic at times. So everyone probably knows how bad I did the first 2 years, and I'll tell you that's not how good of a player I am. I can promise you I'm way better than that. I mean, Andrew, maybe you can attest to this. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen how I've played the past 2 years, but I think if you were to compare how I've played when we do 5v5s, maybe not so much on 32 because I really don't try on 32 just because there's a shit ton of people. But I think you could probably attest. But I would probably say you can attest to the 5v5 games that we do, and compare it to each of the last 2 years, and you could. I'm maybe like 95% sure that you'd say that I'd look a lot better when we did 5v5s compared to what I've done the past 2 years.
I wouldn't say a lot better because you started out on a high note to begin with.
Like what part are you talking about?
Like especially with your shot. Like before, you started out on a high note with just raining the threes, and you've only been getting more and more consistent. So I wouldn't say you've gotten a lot better because you were already starting out so high. You know what I mean?
But I'm saying comparing what I've been doing the past 3 months compared to how I've played the previous years. Because the previous years, I'll give you my stat line for the previous years. The first game, I barely cracked double figures. I think I got 11 points or something. And I had no threes. I think all my shots were layups and free throws. That's it. Last year, I only dropped 5 points, and I think it was off of 2 layups and a free throw, if I'm not mistaken. So I have yet to hit a long-range shot in this series, and I can guarantee you I'm going to get one. Hold on, Nick. I'll get to your questions. We're kind of elaborating on a lot of these questions, but at the same time, I don't want to start rushing these questions too. You know. But to give you my complete honest answer on who I think the X factors for our team is this year. To me, I'll say you this, it's really not 100% definite because I know you want one X factor. I would say anybody except Justin. What was the next question that you asked? Okay, after key factors. The team in game time situations, everything changes and you seem rushed. Why is that? What do you mean by that? Like, are you saying, like, compared to how I do in warm-ups and shit, like, do I, like, do things that are not normal compared to what I do in warm-ups, or what are you trying to say? I definitely don't want the ball on this side. Okay, well. Nick, can you explain that other question that you typed in? Not the most recent one, but the one where it says you started off by saying question and you put a colon. That's pretty close. Oh, come on. If I remember all practices, I heard prior to games 1 and 2 were also good and minimal performance was shown. Oh, so I guess So I guess your question is, why does it seem like I do good in practice, but I don't do well in the games? Let me just go back to the earlier question. I just want to see it. Game time situation, everything changes and you seem rushed. I feel like I just don't let the game come to me. Instead of... Because what I've been trying to do is try to, like, force everything. You probably noticed from... I've been kicked from the party. Thanks. I'll just start my own lobby then. They want to be a bunch of dicks and kick me. I don't know why. Hezekiah Camper. What's up, Kaya? Thank you for joining. Are you actually in the stream? I actually gotta see this. Is this legit though? Oh yeah, he read my message. Okay. But I feel like I'm trying to do too much. If you remember 2 years ago when I was running the point guard for our team, and well, how many shots did I jack up that game? Fucking 27. And I feel like half of those layups were rushed, in my opinion. Did my phone blow up? No, it didn't blow up. Alright. Any extra comments? Alright, cool. But I think the change I want for this year's game, at least from my end, is that I should be more patient and let the game come to me instead of trying to come to the game, if that makes sense. My reason behind that is, well, for most of you guys know that I actually coach basketball, and a new season's just started a few days ago, and I've gotten a team from all age groups, and I'm changing kind of like my philosophy behind things, and I don't know how the fuck my teammate didn't save that. For both ends of the floor, and especially transition, and also trying to like change the things that I say and try to be more clear in what I say. And the offense I really want to try to run more of my guys is kind of try to be patient, but also try to play at a fast pace at the same time. Kind of like have a blend. So that's where me having this mindset where I should be patient and let the game come to me really comes into play. If I feel like, you know, when I take the opportunity and I actually, you know, take advantage of it, that's where I feel like my strong points would come in. But when it comes to me coming to the game and me trying to do too much, I mean, you've seen my stat line already from each of the last 2 years. It's pretty garbage compared to how I believe I should be playing. That was a good shot by me too. I'll give myself that. Okay, let's go back to the next question though. Wow, I got these more people on there. What was the next one? Who should get the most touches in the game and who deserves it? This is actually gonna be a pretty quick question though. I'll say this.
Me.
Actually, I don't have a distinct person that should have more touches than anybody. I feel a well-balanced offense should be the open person takes the shot and we make the right plays. You know, you just execute, penetrate to the lane, kick it out if you need to, or kick it out to an open shooter if necessary, and then kind of like wash, rinse, repeat. You know, get some back screens in and all that type of shit. So that's a pretty quick question, or quick answer, I guess you could say. Phil and David G do the most on offense, but for defense I do a lot. How's our team's defense to you? And that's from Bontemps. It's not bad. I would probably say Phil I would say Phil is what you would call a defensive anchor. I feel like if you have Phil on the floor defensively, they're going to be so much better. Height, quickness, length, that's pretty much all the characteristics that apply into it. And why I think you know, your guys' defense is pretty good. Not saying that all you suck on defense, I mean, but I'm just saying, like, to me, he's the defensive anchor of your team. And that was a bad hit by me. Am I not? Well, I'm gonna refresh this real quick. I'm not getting... These comments ain't showing up. Unless if... No, I didn't want to refresh on my side of PS4. The comments refresh on the stream, but it doesn't refresh on my PS4. It's so stupid. But I think when you have height and length on defense, to me, there should really be no excuse why your defense isn't good. I mean, if you had a bunch of puny guys like the size of Miguel, who's like fucking 4'10" and shorter than Nick's refrigerator, then your defense is just going to be extremely subpar. Is losing Robbie important in Game 3? This is going to be another easy question to answer. When you lose a guy from your team, it hurts. It just does. Ooh, look at that double tap. Well, I got to give myself a round of applause for that double tap. Yeah, at least Josh sent me a Snapchat that didn't say steak instead of streaks. Is that all the questions? Yeah, that's all the questions that have been requested about tomorrow night's game. Well, I want to fire a question back at all you guys, and Andrew, you can answer this question too. How ready do you guys feel, and how hyped are you guys about tomorrow's game? Andrew, you can answer this if you want.
Oh wait, what was the question? I'm sorry.
I know you were watching something. Now, my question to you and to everybody that's in the stream that's in tomorrow's game is one: how ready do you feel for tomorrow night's game, and how hyped are you about tomorrow's game?
Do you want my honest answers or my lie? Do you want my honest answers or do you want my lie?
Kaya's like double tap root beer. Hell yeah. It's always about that double tap root beer. Well, Nick said he's big hyped. I can tell he is big hyped. Big hyped because he and I always talk about the game like every day. So I don't know who.
Well, to be honest, I'm not prepared whatsoever. So
that's true because you've been working.
Yeah, but the one thing that I don't know how it's gonna be is, with me doing all the lifting and stuff, I don't know what my strength is with shooting the ball.
Right, that's true.
So everything is gonna be all out of whack and.
Whoa, I am at 37 subs. Where the fuck did I get all these subs from? I know Matt and Kaya subbed to me, but where are my other... I can't even see who subscribed to me. Everyone got their shit private. It's okay, though. Let's see. What are some other comments I haven't gone through yet? Andrew, the only thing you're touching tomorrow is my pee-pee. From Nick.
Nick, I would love to touch your pee-pee.
Oh my...
I think we're gonna have to have that special session in the locker room, man. Put a sock on a door handle or something.
Well, for reals though, is that all we're gonna talk about for tomorrow night's game? Because in case you guys haven't noticed the title, there's another thing that I want to go through in the stream. It's literally the first thing you guys see in the title after Rocket League 340. these comments in my super hyped. How about losing Robbie? Oh, I covered that already. It was a very quick response, so you might have missed it. But I said that whenever you lose a player, it's definitely a disappointment to lose a player. Ooh, that dude almost got a good save. I gotta give him that. But oh, you want me to explain more in depth of why losing Robbie is a big downgrade, or maybe it can be a big downgrade. It may not be a big downgrade. I mean, we have to see how we play without him. When you lose a player, the next thing you're gonna have to do is figure out someone that can step up and replicate what you're gonna lose from whatever your missing player is. Robbie was essentially I guess a backup point guard. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Shit, that shadow scared me. I'm getting bumped all over the place too. That's gonna be in. Andrew, remind me where I left off. I forgot something. Or I forgot where I left off. And maybe you're spaced out again. Whatever. What game? Oh, so this is a basketball game that me and a few friends of mine from high school started all the way back 2 years ago, 2015. So this was after we graduated high school, right? Okay, I'll get to Nick's question after I answer Kaya's question. What we've done is we did this little series, and we did this with a group of friends. And Nick, who's also known as Major League Gamers in the chat, he describes this thing as an overhyped basketball game, which I completely agree, because the skill level that we all have, it wouldn't be compared. You wouldn't be able to compare it to like a college level player or a high school level player, because none of us are really that conditioned to play, full court. Especially the fact that how we do things, we're playing NBA style rules, where we play 48-minute quarters, or a 48-minute game, 12-minute quarters, not 48-minute quarters. We'd be dead after the first quarter if we played 48-minute quarters. I'll guarantee you that. So we've done this. We after the first game, we weren't sure how long we were gonna keep this up. The first year we did it in 2015, we only stuck to one game. The next year we did it again, and my team lost in 2015, and then we won last year, and it became a split. So we eventually decided that we're just gonna make this a series, and we'll just call this the last game of the series. And I'm surprised they didn't block that out. I should have just gone a lot earlier, but it doesn't matter. So that's basically what we've been talking about this entire time in the stream. Okay, so let's see, what was next question? Robbie led all scores in game 1 and game 2. Robbie would have been a big factor due to reasons. Well, definitely Robbie was a big piece in game 1. Like you just mentioned, he was the leading scorer. I mean, it's pretty disappointing to me how I somehow finished with 11 points while taking 27 shots. I mean, that performance is nauseating, if you really want to put it that way. That's how bad it was. I mean, I was missing layups that I know I'm 100 times more than capable of doing. But Robbie was definitely getting a lot of open looks, and he was definitely able to create opportunities for himself. When I give him the ball, and I think that's something that we would miss in Robbie, is his ability to create something. And some of those times it's usually creating something out of nothing. Which are those type of players that you do want to have on your team from time to time. And I feel like he probably was the reason why we had a chance at winning 2 years ago. Right. Now last year I understand your point. Because of Matt's mindset, we were all too centered around we wanted to score. And watching the film quite a few times, yeah, there were a few times where, Robbie should have had the ball, but he didn't, and shit like that. And then he kind of just like lowered his minutes, in the second half or whatever it was. I think it was the second half when he lowered it. But that's really much what we're gonna miss from Robbie. I mean, other than that, we got another guy with decent amount of height. I think he's taller than me. So I mean, he could, if he wanted to guard someone like Bontemps, I mean, he could. Although I probably wouldn't recommend that though. But how is not having Robbie plus what we already have going to affect our team? I think I might have explained that part already. I don't know if I haven't yet. $35 chances? That is a shit ton of chances to potentially do something. I couldn't even point out 35. I'll be completely honest with you. Like I just said, there are only a few times where I thought Robbie should have gotten the ball, but he didn't. Now, I don't know if it's just how I was looking at the game or I don't know. But I can tell you I was probably looking at things. I was looking at the game a lot differently than what you were looking at. And then the most recent question is, how well do you think Lang would do in this game? Performance, points. Well, you spelled it as points, but that's fine. You can correct your spelling later. Better or worse? I mean, he's just gonna play his usual self. I mean, if any of you guys saw the nicking around from last year, he was flopping all over the place and all that shit. Flopping. I mean, there were times where he had the ball. There were like 2 or 3 people wide open on him. There was a nicking around where he slapped the ball back, and it went into someone's hands on Phil's team, and you just see Matt all the way in the back just raising his arms up like, what the fuck were you doing, after he slapped the ball. Like he was probably trying to play volleyball or some shit like that. And if any of you guys have seen Nick's story, the dude's gotten, how much, Nick, put in the chat how much weight he's gained since last year, because it looks like he's gained like 100, no lie. Okay. Good question, okay. I'll get to it after I finish this question. This motherfucker gained like 30? Bro, dude, the dude does not look like he gained 30. I swear to God, he looked like he gained fucking 50 at least, maybe 100. Like, no offense to the dude was skinny enough to where it looked like he was at normal weight range. I mean, he kind of looks obese in my opinion. How am I playing against a party while having 2 CPUs? Alright, if you didn't gain 50 or 100 like I'm assuming, then my bad. I'm just stating what I've seen from the picture that you sent me on Snapchat, bro. I mean, that is just overboard. I'm gonna do a snap story in the game tomorrow. Alright, that's cool. Wait, you said you weren't gonna talk about the game tomorrow, though. Well, that's cool. If you change your mind, that's fine by me. So I think I pretty much answered that question. David's question. He hasn't scored Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong in this one too. I don't think he scored a point yet. Alright, but correct me if I'm wrong though. Justin has not scored a game in this series, right? Or why did I say score again? Okay, so all those zeros mean that he has scored nothing. Okay, that pretty much answers my question. So, him scoring his first basket of the series, I'm not even sure if I can picture that happening. No offense. You know, y'all know I try to be real with this shit. That was a bad attempt. So yeah. And I can refer back to the question that was asked earlier on who I think the X Factor is, or, you know, the most important player to the team is going to be this year. It's pretty much anyone on our team that's not named Justin Wayne. It would pretty much be like that. And it sounds like I'm trashing the guy, but I mean, like, how much more honest can I be about this, you know? Alright, well, I'm going to go to, Kai's question. Is there ever a time when you would not want someone who can create something out of nothing? It's a good question, though. Well, I want to say, I don't think... Ooh, actually, let me go back to the question again, so I make sure I'm answering this right. Is there ever a time when you would not want it? Honestly, I would always love to have a person that can create something out of nothing. I mean, if we're in a situation where we can't get a shot up, you're gonna... At some point, a dude's gonna have to say, you know what, y'all get the fuck out of my way, I got this, and I'm gonna take over. I feel like at some point, you know, a player's gonna have to have that kind of mentality. It sounds selfish, but at some point, there are plays where no one's getting open off screens. That was a bad save attempt. I'm terrible at defense. Does anyone want my autograph? I'll take your autograph. Take your autograph for the game tomorrow. You can sign, actually I don't even know if I have anything you want to sign. Sell it on eBay? I mean, if you want to sign my shoebox for my Jordans, because that's how I'm gonna carry my Jordans tomorrow. I think. I'm gonna carry it in the box and you can sign the box. But yeah, creating something out of nothing, I feel like you always want a player like that. Because when you want to try to get a flow of offense and everything like that, like you need a player like that. Like, you know, you want to have the balance of having, you know, the floor general, a scorer. No, that's shit. I know Black Dave wanted. Alright, is this all though on tomorrow's game? Because I do want to get to the other thing I want to get through. Which is probably the reason why y'all came here in the first place. Wow, I am surprised that... Yeah, I'm gonna do a story. I'm gonna sing out. Oh, you mean sign out? Alright, because I was gonna start my my NBA rant that I wanted to do. If any of y'all are interested in hearing it, because that's what I want to cover in this too. And now party owner. That's great. What's dope? Shit, I'm not even paying attention. Alright, so anyone in the stream that wanna hear a rant, do an NBA rant? I've kind kind of wanted it to be the first thing I went over, but then we went off on about tomorrow's game. So I don't know. Let me know if you want to hear my take on something. My last goal? What about it? Alright. Kaya, you want to hear a rant on my take on something in NBA? I know you're still in the stream, right? Oh, my last goal was dope. Alright, thanks. Although I was kind of surprised that goal went through. Alright, cool. Alright, so I think it's only you two guys in the stream, so I won't have to start off my my rant kind of like introducing something, but I'll introduce this part though. So there's a sports show I watch, usually on the daily. I don't think I usually miss a show, and I've been watching this show probably ever since last summer. Although I've heard about two certain guys that were on the show before one left, but I was hearing this a lot and seeing this a lot in comment section of, like, Facebook and shit like that. It's a show called First Take. It's hosted by Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman, Molly Karam, those three guys, and usually Will Kane as a typical guest on the show. There's something interesting I heard earlier this week. I can't remember what day it was. I was trying to find the clip of that exact segment, because they brought up something very interesting when it came to talking about this year's finals. And the one thing that they talked about is momentum in a playoff series. And they're having all this debate about how, the better team in a best of 7 usually wins the series. And I kind of want to get into this all this momentum thing in the playoffs. And that's I guess I'll kind of start out like this. Coming into this year's playoffs, anyone that follows a sport, anyone that knows a sport, pretty much anyone in general, including their parents, grandparents and stuff like that, 99% of fans knew what this year's NBA Finals was going to be, whether you wanted to agree with that fact or not. We all know it was going to be Golden State and Cleveland. But this is where I kind of want to talk about momentum. Oh shit, that was bad. Because we're looking at the finals. Golden State and Cleveland are coming into the finals having one combined loss from the two teams. Golden State's undefeated, Cleveland lost one game. The way the playoffs went this year, even though we did get the finals matchup we wanted, but when we break down every individual series that happened, most of the series did not turn out the way we expected it to be. Mainly because of injuries for some teams. And I kind of want to touch on that too. So in the first round of the playoffs, we had very key injuries to some players and to some teams. We had Blake Griffin of the Clippers. We had Nikola Jokic of the Portland Trailblazers. Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz. So there's 2 injuries in the first round right there. I think those are the only injuries I can really name that happened in the first round. But it's pretty interesting because we all thought this year's playoffs, maybe not all of us, but I think for the most part, we thought that it was going to be somewhat competitive, and we thought, you know, a lot of series could go maybe the distance, maybe not. So the first series I'd want to point out to is the Clippers and the Jazz series. Before I get onto that, you guys can leave any comments or questions you guys have about the rant, I guess. But I won't get to them after I'm done, though. Basically how the series started, though, 17 seconds into the game, Rudy Gobert tweaks his knee. After the first game, we didn't know what the status of Gobert is, other than that he was day-to-day. If the Clippers wanted to take advantage of Gobert's injury, because Gobert's a very big presence in the paint for Utah. They're a big defensive team. He's their defensive anchor. You take him out, their defense breaks down quite a lot. So you think the series would change when Utah loses their interior defender in Rudy Gobert right after he gets injured, and I believe he doesn't come back and play. So if you were to watch that game one, you'd be saying, okay, the Clippers got game one because of momentum. Because this is really where I'm starting off here, is momentum in a playoff series. Utah took the momentum back by taking game one. Joe Johnson hit the game winner, and that goes in. And we are all tied at 3 apiece. So not only Utah takes momentum back in the series after losing Gobert, the Clippers lose a little more momentum too. You know why? Because they lost home court advantage. The fact that Utah took that game on the road in game one, the Clippers have to win a game on the road in order to win the series. At least one game. So we're going to fast forward a few games later. We find out that Rudy Gobert comes back. And then Blake Griffin goes down. Which anyone can make the argument as why the Clippers did not face Golden State in the second round of the playoffs last season. Because Chris Paul also got hurt in that same series last year against Portland. And their best player remaining was Jamal Crawford. The momentum shifts from there. Blake Griffin's gone. They lose a key big man. They lose an all-star. Rudy Gobert comes back. That's momentum gained back for the Jazz. But you guys see where I'm going on with this? Or do you really see it? And that's a beautiful goal. That's a big time goal. CP3 shows up, and he's dropping 30 points. That was very close. So Clippers gain back momentum because of CP3's performance. They force a Game 7, and guess where Game 7 is located at? In the Clippers building. You have the advantage there. Blake Griffin or no Blake Griffin, you have home court advantage in Game 7. But it just sucks you couldn't take care of home court. Y'all could have faced Golden State in the second round. But that didn't happen. So now we can fast forward. Maybe not fast forward. We'll stay in the same round. We're going to go to Golden State and Portland. Because I did bring up a third player that did get injured. Nikola Jokic. The guy that they traded at the trade deadline was arguably the reason why Portland even had a chance of making this year's playoffs. They were the 9th seed when they traded Mason Plumlee to Denver for Jokic. He suffers an injury that I don't remember what it was, because I don't know the name off the top of my head. He doesn't play. And only one game of that first round series you could probably say was competitive. Maybe 2. Games 2 and 4 weren't competitive between Golden State and Portland. They weren't. Game 1, that game was tied for 3.5 quarters until Draymond Green, to me, in my opinion, finish off making his case for why he should be Defensive Player of the Year. That's just another beauty of a goal. Nikola Jokic. A big man that has a lot of talent, a lot of skills. He can pass. He could have taken advantage of Golden State being small in the paint. He did play Game 3, but he was limited. There's nothing that they can really do about it. They just have to find a way to beat them without him. But like I said, he was really the reason why Portland even had a chance. And that injury late in the season, that really changed what we could have seen in a potential 1-8 series matchup going 5-6 games. Utah and Clippers, they went to the limit, even with the injuries. But it's just that we didn't think the Utah Jazz would have won. At least in my book, I don't think they would have won. If it weren't for Blake Griffin being injured. It's not Chris Paul's fault why they lost. Although you can say he did have a pretty bad Game 7. And I would have been pretty pissed if my teammate didn't say that. Second round of playoffs. Relatively healthy for the most part. Well, I guess you can say decently healthy. And I almost pulled that goal off. George Hill gets injured. Game 1 or Game 2 against Golden State. Doesn't play the rest of the series. Now I don't know what the expectation was for that series in terms of how many games it's going to go. But I'll tell you this for damn sure. I'm damn sure about it. Utah didn't really have a chance of beating Golden State. What they did have a chance of doing is taking the game from them, probably at best. but that didn't happen. I'm going to go to the other semifinal series that happened this year. San Antonio and Houston. Game 6 was a wreck, though, for James Harden, who didn't attempt a single field goal in the first quarter, I think. And he's an MVP candidate for this season, isn't he? In most people's eyes, he's number 1 or 2 in the MVP voting list. And you could say the same for Westbrook, too. He's number 1 or 2 on that list. But, Game 5, Kawhi Leonard suffers an ankle injury. An ankle injury that about a half hour to an hour before the game starts, they announce that he's out for the game. With the series being on the line, and Houston having home court in a closeout game, in a game where they could potentially get eliminated on their home court, San Antonio losing their best player, as good as San Antonio is, you think that Houston would take it to them and force a Game 7, and maybe you have to have Kawhi Leonard play through an ankle injury. But that didn't happen, though. Somehow Houston didn't take advantage of an injury. That's really how sports works. If the team gets injured, I mean, you still have to play them. There's no delaying a series because a team's injured, they're not 100% healthy. There's really none of that. You play against whatever players they got. You play with whatever players you got available. I mean, the best ability is availability. I'm going to go to the Western Conference Finals, because that's really a questionable series. Probably the most questionable series that we have seen so far in this year's playoffs. Kawhi Leonard plays with a hurt ankle. A questionable closeout by Zaza Pachulia. We all thought the Western Conference Finals would go 6 games. But that didn't happen. San Antonio had the potential of making this series very competitive. Maybe even more competitive what we saw in the Eastern Conference semifinals with Washington and Boston. I got lagged. Okay. Injuries changed the outcomes of playoff series. Maybe significantly, maybe not that significantly. There aren't really injuries in the East, other than the Celtics with Isaiah Thomas in these finals. But we all know how Boston played without Isaiah Thomas. 2 games in Cleveland, they look decent. They're better defensively without him. Offensively, they're moving the ball a little bit more. But what happened in Game 5, though? They look pretty lost. They played a Cleveland team that didn't want to play games anymore. They didn't want to screw around. They wanted the series to be over. They knew that Golden State was already done with their series. And they wanted to get some rest too. I'm going to transition into this year's finals to kind of close out this rant, or my little take. This was the finals that 99% of NBA fans predicted since day one. And what I mean by day one is when Kevin Durant wanted to join Golden State. Kevin Durant joined a team that won 73 games, blew a 3-1 lead against them. Left Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma City to pursue a championship with the enemy, their conference rival in Golden State. He is the best player on Golden State right now. You can make a case that he's the second best player in the NBA. This is the first time in history, NBA history, where we see the same matchup in the finals 3 years in a row. Each of the last 2 years were very controversial. Mainly because of injuries and suspensions. But I'll get to that. This year's finals has been hyped since day one. We were talking about Kevin Durant versus LeBron James, number 2 in their career. Number 2 meaning their second meeting in the finals against each other. Everybody questioned Kevin Durant's move to Golden State. And that's true. You can't be blamed for questioning him. That's probably the last team people wanted to see him go to, was Golden State. Like I just said, they won 73 games. But here's one way where Kevin Durant can make his move justifiable. Where he can prove all the people that question him that what he did was the right move for him. And that's him showing up against LeBron James. People are talking about how LeBron is his kryptonite. One, because he didn't want to play in the same conference as him, but also he beat him in the finals already. Not only to make his move justified and prove everybody that his move was the correct decision for him, he needs to win finals MVP. He needs to be the reason why Golden State wins this year's championship. Both teams are entering this year's finals healthy. Golden State and Cleveland did not have any injuries at all in their postseason run. And I can bring up the last two finals. 2 years ago, Golden State come out of nowhere. They won 67 games. Got a brand new coach in Steve Kerr. Golden State was a very young team, where their team was built through draft picks. And they were winning 50 plus games every year with Mark Jackson, except for his first year. Same year, LeBron James goes back to Cleveland, departing from Miami, to pursue a ring back at his hometown of Cleveland. Coming into the playoffs, both teams were relatively healthy. But then what happened? Kevin Love gets his shoulder torn apart by a questionable box out by Kelly Olynyk, where you see him grabbing his arm and pulling on it while Kevin Love's trying to chase a rebound. You find out later on he's out for the rest of the playoffs because of a 3-month recovery period. Next thing is Kyrie Irving. He's banged up. He's hobbled. Fine against Boston, but you see him hobbling against Chicago and Atlanta. He barely played during the East Finals against Atlanta. Next thing we know, Game 1 of the Finals goes into overtime, and Kyrie gets hurt in overtime. Bangs knees at Klay Thompson, and Golden State takes Game 1 of that series. And we find out sometime before Game 2 that Kyrie Irving's out for the rest of the Finals. So LeBron James is left on his own. With his second best player being Matthew Dellavedova. Meanwhile, Golden State's all healthy. And Golden State takes that series 4-2. LeBron having a historical performance in the finals. Next year, Golden State drops 73 wins. In historic fashion. 24-0 to start the season. They were criticized of their playoff run in 2015 on how every team they played was injured. And they weren't that injured. The only injury they had was to Mo Spates in the West semis. And that was it. Cleveland's on a mission. But mainly is LeBron. Because he wants to bring that title back home. Both teams entered the finals last year extremely healthy. Not 100% though, because Steph had an MCL sprain in the first round against Houston. Slipped on a wet spot. Left by Monty Udis. and he's out for 2 weeks. Comes back, he's not himself. Only has one good game. The game he came back against Portland in Game 4 where he broke an overtime record. Well, I believe, what, 17 points? And he finished with 40. Kevin Love has a concussion and is only up for Game 3. Cleveland wins that game without him. Game 4, he's back. And both teams at their health level. Relatively what it was when they started the finals. And Golden State takes 3-1. Then what we find out before Game 5 is that Draymond Green's suspended because of what he did to LeBron. What did he do? He stepped over Draymond. And then Draymond retaliated by trying to lift his leg up to kick him. And yeah, LeBron's nuts were all over his head. And then Draymond takes a swing at his nuts. That's how he got suspended. Momentum shifts right there for Cleveland in a positive direction. Golden State in a negative direction because they lose what was their most important player. Next thing is that Andrew Bogut, he gets hurt. Tweaked his knee or something like that. So Golden State is without their 2 starting big men. Why do you think it was so easy for Kyrie and LeBron to score 41 points in Game 5 last year? Andrew Bogut sets a tone defensively in the paint. Those 2 guys had an easy time going in the paint with no Draymond and Bogut. Next thing we know is that too, Andre Iguodala tweaks his back in Game 6, and he's their best defender for LeBron. But he still played with a bad back. But it's not easy to play with. So then we come to this conclusion that Cleveland pulls off the only 3-1 comeback in NBA Finals history. So we're deadlocked at 1 apiece. Golden State has 1 championship, Cleveland has 1 championship. Now we're set here for a trilogy. 3 years in a row we're going to be seeing Cleveland Golden State. Both teams extremely healthy coming to this year's finals. We've had the same excuse for each of the last 2 finals. Injuries, suspensions. We now have 7 All-Stars going out for an all-out war. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love. This year, all 7 of those guys need to show up. They really do. Like I said, this series has been hyped up since July 4th, when KD decided to join Golden State. This series better live up to the hype, though. This year, I hope we don't have to use the same two excuses we've been using for each of the last 2 years. I pray to God that we don't have to use those excuses this year. We need both teams healthy from game 1 to game however long it takes for this series to get over with. Because both teams were not 100% healthy from game 1 to game whatever. They weren't. This has probably been one of the worst seasons, maybe, in terms of level of competition. If this series lives up to the hype, we won't be looking at it as the same way as we're looking at it now. We all knew this from the beginning. If Kevin Durant wants to justify his move to go into Golden State is what was best for him, he needs to be the reason why they win the finals this year. LeBron's the best player in the world. He needs to go up for 35 if he wants to take down Golden State. Steph Curry shouldn't be the #1 reason why Golden State wins it this year. It's Kevin Durant. Injuries and suspensions change momentum of a playoff series. Regardless if you want to buy into that fact or not. And you just want to go with the statement, next man up. But it really does. I've been in quite a few series where playoff series did not end up the way we wanted to, what we thought it should have happened, based off of expectations, how we saw the games turn out to be, how they were developed. No matter how you look at it, one injury changes your championship chances drastically, especially if it happens to a main player. Look at San Antonio. They lost their best player. Look at Cleveland 2 years ago. Their second and third best players weren't there. Look at Golden State last year. They missed their most important piece. Not their overall best player, but their most important piece. I can go on and point to each and every single series that was changed drastically by injuries. I think we get the point. In a best of 7 series, It's not the best team always wins a series. It's that the healthier team wins a series. Whether you're a fan of Cleveland or Golden State, or whether you like, or excuse me, whether or not you hate either of these teams, my opinion, it's right that we're deadlocked at 1 apiece between the two. But it should be flipped around, though. We take injuries and suspensions, and if we take that in, it should be flipped. And the storyline would be fixed a little bit. LeBron wins his first championship back. Excuse me, LeBron wins a championship in his first year back with Cleveland. And then the following year, Golden State completes their 73-9 record with a title. That's what really should have happened. And I'll repeat this again. It's not the best team that always wins in a best of 7. It's the healthier team that wins it. Both Golden State and Cleveland are entering this series healthy. There's really not many injuries. They haven't even suffered an injury in this entire postseason run. All we have to hope for is that both teams are healthy from game 1 to game however long the series goes. That way, when we come up with reasons why either side loses, you won't have to use injuries or suspensions we just have to look at how well the defenses were playing. How well are the stars playing? And how well do both of these teams face adversity? Because neither team really had to face that much adversity in this year's playoffs. Only one loss combined between the two teams. There's really not much adversity when you look at it. The key to this year's finals: health and which group of superstars show up. Does Cleveland's superstars show up, or does Golden State superstars show up? That's how this year's championship team will be decided. That's all I gotta say.
Now is the right time. I'm making my
Wow, I did not even know who was in this. I don't even know who was in this stream in the entire time. I was just seeing two watching. I had no idea who was in it. But, thanks to both of you guys for actually listening to that. So I figured it'd be about this time if you guys want to leave comments or questions about what you heard. Or if there's something I didn't cover that you want me to cover, I can answer it here. I do know there was a comment earlier. That was in there. That was posted here. That I read it. Maybe CP3 and Blake Griffin should leave. I think so too. I think the Clippers should break up. To me, CP3 should go to New Orleans. Team up with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. That's who he should team up with. There's rumors out there that him and the Spurs have interest. But to me, you have a point guard with the caliber of CP3, with the two best big men in the game. To me, that's a powerhouse in the Western Conference. That's how I look at it. Blake Griffin, though? I'm not sure where he should go to. I really don't. Blake Griffin is a player. High flyer. We thought he would dominate the paint. All we're really seeing the dude do is shoot jumpers. He's not banging down low, trying to get easy buckets. Maybe it's because he's trying to adapt to how the NBA is being played now. He gets a dude that's a few inches shorter than him. He pulls up on the dude. You don't do that. I take him down to the block and see if you can guard that. If you can't guard that, I'll keep doing that until you change something. NBA equals trash. I'm not going to sit here and say that this has been the most unwatchable regular season ever. Because when you think about it, viewing ratings have gone up. Whether you want to accept that fact or not, they've really gone up this season. And yeah, I did a rant on my Snapchat last Friday after Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals on the level of competition that we've seen from this season. And that rant was about 7 minutes long. This one I'm doing here right now, I can tell you this has been going for about 20-30 minutes now. But I agree though. Competition needs to come back into the NBA. Now you're probably going to ask me, when did I think the love of competition started to drop? To me it started in 2008, when Boston traded for Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and Rajon Rondo. They traded 11 players across 3 to 4 different trades. And that team was so stacked. If I'm not mistaken, they were the only team in that season, that 2007-2008 season, that had 60-plus wins. All 8 teams in the Western Conference that made the playoffs, they all had 50 wins. The East probably had about 3 50-win teams. Maybe 4. 2 years later, that trend kind of continued with the super teams. LeBron leaves Cleveland, teams up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami. 4 years there. That's how long their team up lasted. In 2014, LeBron does the same thing again, except he goes back home to Cleveland. Teams up with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. 2 years later, we see Kevin Durant leave. Leaves Oklahoma City to join a team that won 73 games. A team he had a 3-1 lead against in the Western Conference Finals, and lost that lead. That's really where the level of competition started to drop. It's 2008. It's happened 4 times where we've seen super teams created, all in their own separate ways. Just looking forward to the finals. Yeah. That's all we've been waiting for since July 4th of 2016. Ever since July 4th, when we heard KD's announcement on the Chicago Tribune, the Players Tribune, whatever Tribune it was, not Chicago Tribune, but some type of Tribune. I think it's Player Tribune. Ever since the 4th of July 2016, all we waited for was June 2017. We all know where this season was headed to. And obviously I just explained how the playoffs went completely different than what we thought it would be. Yeah. It went different. Injuries played a part to it. Now, I didn't think Cleveland and Golden State would combine for 1 loss coming into the finals. At the same time, I don't know if I can be impressed by that. 12-0, 12-1. 12-0 for Golden State, 12-1 for Cleveland. I mean, you can make the argument that if Cleveland really wanted to take advantage of Isaiah Thomas being out, the conference finals should have been over Tuesday. And we would have seen 2 teams enter the NBA Finals undefeated. They're all building super teams now. Well, that's kind of how it is now. You want to win nowadays? You got to build a super team. One of the main reasons why I wish 90s basketball should come back into this era of basketball. What All-Star could you name in the 90s or the 80s that went out and said that they want to play with another superstar? Bird and Magic were rivals. But do you think they ever came out and said they wanted to play together? You think Isaiah Thomas from the Bad Boy Pistons could come out and say he wants to play with Larry Bird? MJ. You think he came out and said he would want to play with Bird, Magic? Roughly a lot of teams had big-time players. The Bulls of Jordan and Pippen. Celtics of Bird, McHale, and Parrish. Lakers had Magic, Worthy, Kareem. Sonics had Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp. Utah with Malone and Stockton. Houston with Hakeem Olajuwon. Phoenix with Charles Barkley. Portland with Clyde Drexler. The Indiana Pacers with Reggie Miller. Shaq and Penny on Orlando. Patrick Ewing on the Knicks. Isaiah Thomas on the Bad Boy Pistons. Julius Erving with the Sixers. How many teams did I just name off there? I couldn't even count how many teams I just named right there with big-time players. Golden State with Chris Mullin. Maybe a team, that's probably a team that not a lot of people would know about. You can ask a Golden State fan, they probably wouldn't know who Chris Mullin is. 99% sure. The balance of power, superstars. It's almost like watching Team USA all over again. Team USA doesn't have competition. Yeah, they almost lost to Australia. And whatever that other country was last year, I forgot what it was. That's kind of what we're getting into now, within these past 7 to 10 years. Is now superstars can't win on their own. Or even with having just one other all-star on their team. We need to have 3 or 4 all-stars. Some players have to find themselves before they find another team. That's true. Look at Paul George. He wants to leave Indiana for LA. And when I mean LA, I mean the Lakers, not the Clippers. Because the Lakers are the better team in LA. Whether you agree with that or not. The Lakers are the better team in LA, not the Clippers. I don't blame Paul George, though, for wanting to leave Indiana. And here's why. 2013, Paul George had a team that could have potentially knocked off Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals. He had a team that consisted of George Hill, Monte Ellis, Danny Granger, David West, Roy Hibbert, Lance Stevenson. Damn, did they take them to 7 games in the 2013 East Finals. And Paul George gave them everything he could. And damn it, he gave it to them. But what happened ever since 2013? Oh, I'll tell you this. David West. He leaves for San Antonio in free agency 2 years later. He played for San Antonio last year before going to Golden State this year. Roy Hibbert gets traded to the Lakers for Jordan Hill. Lance Stevenson walks to Charlotte as a free agent. George Hill just got traded to the Jazz this past offseason. Monte Ellis stayed put. Danny Granger's retired. Yeah, Paul George got Lance Stevenson back for this season, but that was way after the trade deadline. Wouldn't really help that much, would it? He still got Monte Ellis on his team. But where has Monte Ellis been? Monte Ellis was the reason why I started watching Golden State several years ago. But he just ain't that same Monte Ellis that I thought he was in Golden State. He hasn't been playing that well in recent years. Paul George almost didn't have that much help in Indiana, though. Although you can make the argument that they could have won 2 games against Cleveland. They all hate each other. I mean, yeah, they did. That was part of competition. I'm pretty sure they all respected each other, but they didn't want to play together because they didn't think it'd be that right to have a bunch of superstars team up together at the time. Now it's somewhat okay, although there are people that will still have a difference with it. In order to compete with super teams, you gotta create one yourself. CP3 can do that with New Orleans. You just gotta get an additional piece or 2. That's all. I think it's gonna do it though. For my rant. And for the live stream. Wasn't bad. Thought it was a pretty good stream today though. I think this is where I'm gonna end it though. So if you enjoyed the live stream, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thank to all you guys that were part of the live stream today, or got a chance to see it. Check out the other content on my channel too, in case if you haven't yet. I think you'll find some stuff in there that you'd probably be interested in. NBA Playgrounds, Black Ops 3, Zombies Chronicles, Rocket League. Those are the main games that you'll probably see on my channel. Definitely, I would like to keep on trying with these takes on the NBA. But if you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next stream. Sports Gamer out.